1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and boom, that's it. That's how you count 16th notes. That's it. But there's a little bit more to it. And if you care to stick around, we're going to talk about that. I'm Nate. This is Drum and Drummer. But this is really a video which is more like as a reference for my students. Especially if you're a little bit more auditory, just to have that reference of like, oh, that's actually how it sounds. The main thing is just to keep in mind that when you count those 16th notes, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and that they're evenly spaced, right? So and they're not speeding up or slowing down. You're not going 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and etc. In this book, by the way, which is just on my laptop, it's Kevin White's Breaking It Down. Love this book. I teach from this book a lot. In the measure before, you see that there's eighth notes, okay? So if you look at it and kind of compare it, you realize that all of the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the eighth notes are still there. It's just that we're sticking these little E's in there and the U's in between the notes, okay? One of the things that's really important when you're dealing with these things is to think of them as happening twice as fast, okay? So what I mean by this is sometimes for this measure, for example, right? Sometimes students will go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E, but that's not right. And the reason why it's not right is because it's not happening twice as fast. What you did is actually you ended up slowing the 16th notes down to the 8th note speed. So it has to be happening, those notes have to go in between. So what I mean is that instead you'd be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and It's the same amount of space, but twice as many notes are happening. So effectively, you can think of it as twice as fast. So there we go. Also, the way that you can spot these guys is from looking at the double bars, right? You see those double bars, okay? And when you see a grouping of 4 like this with the double bars, you can bet that they're 16th notes, okay? Let's take a look at a couple of these exercises down here. Again, this is where you want to keep a good understanding of your pulse and keep them all in proportion. So 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and if you think about these as kind of their own little chunks, you're good. And yeah, keeping the proportion right. So 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and okay? And remember that these are kind of independent. It just depends on where they are in the measure, right? This is 1, and it only has an and connected to it. This is at the 2 spot. It has this this grouping of 16th notes. Okay, check out another one. Remember, this is just to kind of give you a good reference of how these things sound. So this next one is 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and okay? Sometimes I tell people to like be nodding their head like 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and because it makes you realize that that the pulse is happening, and no matter what the grouping, if it's an 8th note or a 16th note, you're always going to start it on that pulse. 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. And actually that's what this next one is, number 4 here. 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. It can be very difficult sometimes to make sure that quarter notes get enough time, right? But they're getting the same amount of time as those 16th notes. What I mean by that is that you're still going 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. Now if I counted 2, let's just count 2 I'm going to kind of whisper the rest of the 16th notes so that we know that the spacing is right. We're trying to get the spacing right. 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4 E and right? So I know just from kind of that experiment, you could even, if you wanted to, count it. You could even count the 16 notes that are not there to help you with the spacing like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and See how I counted the 16th notes on the 2 and the 4 that weren't really there. I just played the quarter notes. Okay, hopefully this is something which is more helpful than confusing. I've decided that every day in this month of September, I wanted to make a quick, somewhat quick video that could be helpful to my students in the future. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully that was how we count 16th notes and how we combine them with other rhythms. Boom.